Starting. And we're live. Greetings and salutations. It's Unthoth Neverborn, The-Abyss-That-Slumbers, and we're trying something different because we've had audio problems the past 2 weeks. So if you are actually watching this and it sounds like shit, please say something in the chat so that I can pay attention. Otherwise, we're also going to be changing the format up a little bit. We're only going to be sticking with 2 topics tonight. We're going to be sticking with Kavanaugh, of course, because the whole universe revolved around this guy and Ford for about a month there. And after that, we're going to talk about what makes a good wife. Dun, dun, dun. And we have joining us Gwendy Wook, and of course, I'm Better Than You is Freddie von Blumstink. How's it going, Freddie? Yes, indeed. Anything you guys want to bring up before we jump into things, or anything you want to say, or shill? Feel free to shill away. Nothing? We're good?
I mean, I got personal stuff to talk about just because there was a kid at work today that I wanted to throw out a window, but other than that.
Oh, if you want to get into some personal stuff before we get to the main topic, that's fine. This is what it's about. It's about ranting. So if you want to rant about somebody, go rant ahead.
I have a great rant then. So help me God if I hear another teenager going to shove them out a window. I swear to God.
Oh. You've come to your limit as to how children are today.
Just okay, so I work at McDonald's, right? So first off, please kill me. But that's like the big thing with the high schoolers right now is that they believe that their lives are just so terrible that it's not going to get any better. I'm like, you're 15 years old. Stop it. Just don't, please, God. If you don't knock it off, I swear, by what is holy, that I'm going to find you some cement shoes and throw you off the bridge into the Flint River. I swear to God.
Privileged, I take it, huh?
It's driving me insane. Like, they think that their lives are so terrible. It's like, you really have done nothing with your life. You're so young. There's so much more that you can fuck up. Don't come at me telling me that your life is so god awful because a prom dress. I don't fucking care.
Well, actually, that might be part of the second topic we're going to be handling tonight. Because, you know, good parents make good kids.
Go look up the Dennis Leary song, Life's Gonna Suck When You Grow Up, and get him to hear that.
You're all.
Well, life does suck the older you get.
That's pretty much all I had for that.
Oddly enough, we kind of weirdly do things here in America. Like if you're in Japan, they let kids do anything when they're young, but the older you get, the more responsibility they shoulder on you. So that by about the time that they're leaving home, they're much more serious. Here in America, we have this tendency to kind of put responsibility on children, but then we let them just do whatever they want when they get older. We don't push the responsibility as much. The older you get, the more freedoms you have. It's kind of the opposite in Japan. And sometimes I wonder if that's a good or bad thing. Because they
I don't fully agree with that.
Yeah, I think they got too much of a stick up their ass over there.
Well, I kind of blame the internet for this as well. Like, you know, keep saying the internet's probably the worst possible things that we could have ever done. And you know, I've seen American kids popular YouTube internet type dealio, social media thing, where they'd basically the only kids that they'd be able to talk to was the kids from in their neighborhood. And I've seen what's happened afterwards, and there seems to be a huge spike in like depression and all this kind of stuff, especially from fucking like people like YouTubers and whatnot and all this kind of stuff. And I think it's actually possibly a bit more like, you know, the parents' fault for kids gloving the kids to the stage that the first time they jump on the internet, they find an Australian that'll tell them to go and get fucked or something like that. They're like, oh my God, what's this F word thingy? Oh fuck, that's a naughty word. My feelings are really hurt. I need to see a psychiatrist or something like that.
With like my son, like, yeah, my son's 6.5 years old, but I don't really censor myself around him very much. Like, I'll swear and stuff, but my son understands completely that those are adult words. We don't use those until we're an adult. But even still, like, I had to explain to him the other day because he had a kid at school sitting there telling him that if he didn't do something naughty that he's not supposed to fucking do. This kid, okay, I'm sorry, hold on. This stupid little fuck kid in my son's class told him that if he didn't pee in the garbage can, that he wouldn't have any friends. And bless my son's heart, he believed this kid. And I'm like, what? So my son got in trouble for peeing in a garbage can.
Kids are terrible. Kids are just terrible.
Okay, so to be fair though, I love my child so much, but my son has this. My son is really weird. He's been spending a lot of time at school. He had issues with biting other kids, and the reason why, just to preface this a bit, he was telling everyone that he was a vamp, asked him to make them vampires, so he bit them, and then he got in trouble for biting them.
I believe these sounds like innocent and naive, which aren't exactly bad traits to have. I don't know if he's necessarily stupid. I just don't think he has a lot of life experience yet.
Well, of course not. He's 6.5, and my son's not stupid by any means. He's surprisingly smart. He'll constantly tell you that he's not smart, but he is very smart. And it's really funny. Number one, the garbage can. I laughed too hard. Like his stepmom and I were on the phone, and she's like, "You shouldn't laugh." I'm like, "You're laughing." She's like, "No, I'm not laughing." And I'm like, "You're laughing right now. Shut up." So no, because it's funny. It's so funny. Like it's so stupid that it's just funny.
No. That laugh. It's not funny. It just reminded me of when you blow air up a Sheila's fanny, so she does a fanny fart.
What?
That's usually the reaction.
Why would you blow air? Wait, when you say fanny, you mean vagina, right?
Yeah.
Okay, why are you blowing air in a vagina? What's wrong with you?
They don't inflate.
Because it instantly goes, and it's
You're
funny as
weird.
fuck. Funny as
That's
fucking.
no, that's weird.
That's weird,
Why
man.
would you do that?
That is.
But-
There must be an
but-
Australian thing. It's from down under in more than one way.
But the reaction is exactly that. It's like she's pissing herself laughing, going, "It's not funny."
I mean, okay, so in all fairness, though, like,
why are you laughing then? I'm not laughing.
because it feels weird. No. Okay, so I'm a terrible human being, and we already know this. But I will tell you up one wall and down another that I am not ticklish. Okay, because I'm not ticklish. So Drew will sit there and tickle me, and I'll sit there and laugh. He's like, "Well, why are you laughing if you're not ticklish?" I'm like, "Because you're cheating." So it's the same concept.
Cheating.
I get you.
Yeah.
Where he's cheating? Where's he tickling you then? Where's the cheat?
Oh no, because I'm okay. So I will never admit this in real life. I'm extremely ticklish, but I'll tell people that I'm not ticklish. Just like I can't cook. Like I tell people I can't cook, so they don't expect me to cook. But I'm actually pretty decent at cooking. I just don't like cooking, so I tell everyone I can't cook.
Alrighty. Any other rants about anything before we move on to the first topic and wrap it up real quick? Because I don't think there's much to say about Kavanaugh. Anything else? All right, let's move on to Kavanaugh real quick. It's real simple. I'm sure they even heard down in Australia for the past month, we've had this guy, Brett Kavanaugh, basically had everything done to him, including a proctology exam. He had 7 different FBI investigations into this man. Everything can be brought to bear on him. And the end result is we still don't truly know the truth of the allegations. I have a suspicion of which way it is. I've discussed that earlier. What I actually think is going on. But, just to recap, I think that she was abused as a child because she stated his attack added to her PTSD. There had to be something that caused PTSD before that. And I think that's actually what the issue is. But that's neither here nor there. I have nothing but pity in my heart for Professor Ford because I believe she was truly used and abused by the system in this case. As for Brett Kavanaugh, he lost his temper once. I don't think that's a reason to crucify the guy because, hey, if you threatened to rape my children, I'd be pissed too.
Fair.
All right. Fair enough. I'll give you that one. You've got rape threats against your daughters. Yeah, you get to be pissed. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, as a parent, I agree.
Hang on. Was it a threat or was it an actual action?
No, well, I mean, it wasn't an action. It was over the internet. People were bombarding this guy, and the one of them that stood out was.
The internet.
The internet, but they were trying to reach his children directly.
Mm-hmm.
Like this wasn't, I'm going to rape your children. This is, I want to reach your children and tell them why I'm raping them. I mean, it's like that's some next level of fucked up shit, right? But that stuff we don't hear about. We hear about all this other. Well, there's so many allegations against this guy. We can't put him in we can't possibly nominate him. What? You made up the allegations. So, I mean, it's a danger.
Outside of the allegations, though, I still don't like him. I really don't think he should have been appointed at all.
I'm going to be honest too. I didn't like him much. Like when I actually look at what he stood for, he's not the guy I would want on. I mean, he's a straight up squeaky clean guy. I think he might actually be pretty good as president, but as a Supreme Court justice, and right now, I'm going to be honest here. If this guy holds a grudge over this shit, I mean, I expect it. Okay. If I always thought this guy was like, because he said Roe versus Wade is established law, I'm not going to touch it. That was his official statement. It's already under the bridge. There's nothing to do. I might modify some of the conditions, but I certainly would not overturn Roe versus Wade. That's basically what he said. Now, I'm not so sure. Like right now, what I'm expecting here on Monday is for Brett Kavanaugh to come out and have a press conference and go, bring me the head of Roe versus Wade. I'm going to rule on it right now.
I would be so livid.
Oh, I would be too, because I don't think it's the place for it, but it would not surprise me because if you've done anything, the Democrat, I always thought of him kind of a centrist kind of guy. I mean, when I look at his record, he seems kind of centrist to me. Centrist right-ish, but mostly centrist.
It's like moderate.
But after this, but moderate. But after this, it would not surprise me if he's like, okay, I'm going to hold a grudge over this shit. Because, my God, this
But why would you attack women? That's the dumbest thing. Like, just don't. I don't care if you hold a grudge. Don't go after women like that.
No, I don't think he's going to go after women. I think he's going to go after the left. But I don't know, who knows? He made his public statement for, sorry, I lost my temper. As a Supreme Court justice, I should always be level at no pines, and I shouldn't let my personal feelings get in the way, blah, blah, blah. A great political statement from him. Very well written by whoever is his press release guy. But how he's actually feeling, I have no clue, and only time will tell. Otherwise, the vote was 50-48, which actually means that there was a one vote leeway, because if it went 49-49, then it comes down to the vice president. So if two people flipped, he wouldn't be nominated. But I think it was pretty obvious at that point that he was getting nominated. And I do have one suspicious feeling that I think Donald Trump deliberately dragged this out. And I think the reason why is that this looks horrible for the Democrats. And the worse this looks for Democrats, the better a turnout you're going to get in November for the midterm elections. I really do truly believe Donald Trump deliberately stretched this out and it's why he wasn't tweeting about it. It's why he was keeping quiet and low key. He was trying to keep this in the media and have it overwhelm everything else. So it's everything everybody's talking about. Whether that's a good or a bad thing is neither about me, but otherwise it is what it is. We're going to have to live with it for a couple of decades and we'll have to see where it goes. I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think people are going to die because he's been nominated, but hey, we'll have to see what happens. Any thoughts from you guys on this before we move on to our main event?
Yeah, I'm personally of the same position that I was when the letter was first announced, which, they asked me to give a shit, but I was constipated that day, and I'm still constipated now.
Okay. Non sequitur there. Anything you want to say, Wendy, other than you don't think he was a good pick because he wasn't a good pick?
I mean, other than that, I really don't have much to say. I mean, like, if they can't really confirm that he did the things, I can't. I don't know this. I can't
hold somebody's word against him without some sort of collaboration.
Right, because I've always been a very firm believer in I need evidence before I can really get upset about it. Like, I can still be upset that allegations existed, but without any evidence and the ability to say yes, that he is most certainly guilty. And I know it's really hard to do because it's so long ago. Like, it's kind of hard for me to really hold that against him at this point.
Yeah, there's so many other things to hold against him.
Right. See, like, I'm sorry. I really had a hard time when he was sitting there saying that he didn't feel a president should be held to like the same legal standards or something. And that really bothered me only because of the bullshit that's been going on with Donald Trump, and it's like, that's uncomfortable. But other than that, I mean,
legally speaking, that is the way it reads, that a president, while he's sitting, cannot be charged with anything. He could be charged with everything the moment he steps out of office, but while he's in office, he can't be charged. I personally am of the opinion.
I think that's a crock of shit.
I think that there should be, the ability to charge, not civil cases, because if it was civil cases, you're going to tie the president up in all sorts of litigation.
Yeah, no.
But a criminal case, yeah. I'm sorry, but the president should not be above the law. I'm with you on that one.
You guys should have thought about that a couple of 100 years ago when you got rid of the monarchy, because that's our governor general. That's his job.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, and I understand, and I also understand the reason for it, because in the original founder's vision, the president is supposed to be really the head of the army, and when you're the head of the army, you kind of got to do some nasty shit.
The head of the army does not allow you to get away with it, murder.
Well, yeah, but
point,
that's
not saying he actually did murder, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but it gives him the right to send like 1 million people off to maybe die.
Right. When you could make a case that he's murdering people, you could make a case that every time the president sends armies off and they get killed, that he's guilty of manslaughter because he's willingly putting people at risk. I mean,
I was mostly using that as a metaphor. I wasn't being literal with it.
Oh, I am, because I believe that's the way you read the law. You've got to be literal with it. And I think that's what, but then again, I do accept, I also say, hey, anything you did while you were president, you should definitely pay for the minute you step out of office. And you can only do that 8 years, friend. Well, 10.5 under certain conditions. It is possible to be president for 10.5 years in a very rare circumstance where you started out the vice president, the president dies a year and a half into his term, but that's irrelevant. Otherwise, anything else? And then we're going to move on to the main event.
I'm down for this main event.
Okay. Main event here. I'm going to glaze over a few details, so I don't want to give anything away, but I was talking with a recurring client, calls me up every once in a while when she's feeling suicidal, and I talk her out of it. And we were having a chat this time about her life. She was going on about her job. She was going on about her car. Her muffler just fell off. And there's, and her kid that, due to her own incompetence, I'm not going to go into the details, she wound up losing her child to the state because she did some pretty stupid things on drugs. And she's trying to get her life back together, but she's also trying to keep her career going, and she's all this stuff is happening. And I finally said to her, you keep talking about your career, but every time you talk about anything you love, that you want to do, that you honestly enjoy, it all revolves around your kids. It always comes down to your kids. Why don't you just be a professional wife? And now initially you might be saying, what the heck's up with that here? And the rest of the argument was, look, I have 2 jobs. And at my 2 jobs, I worked it out. I have 16 different bosses between them. I don't know most of them. I don't even know the names of most of them. But if any of these 16 people show up in my life and tell me what to do, I do it or I stop getting paid. Okay, and these people can change. They can be replaced. I have no control over who my 16 bosses are. If you are a professional wife and you marry somebody so that he provides for you, he's your boss, true, but you've only got 1 boss as opposed to 16 bosses. And I heard there's some perks when you sleep with a boss. At which point she laughed like that. But it seemed to be like this moment of revelation for her where she was like, oh my God, that's the solution to all my problems. And I said, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Sleep on it. Before I talk to her tomorrow, I want to go over some of my concepts of the advice I was going to give her overall. And then I would like some feedback from you guys, because Wendy is pretty much as liberal as we can get around here. And Farty's pretty much as conservative as we can get around here. So I'm pretty sure if both of them agree, Bob, you're a fucktard and an idiot. What the hell are you talking about? I know that my advice is bad. Right? So before we get going into the main event here, is there anything you two want to bring up on this specific topic or questions you'd like to ask me so that I can properly frame this? Because I do know I'm like saying, as a man, I'm about to say, this is the best way to be a good wife.
This is what got me really, really interested in being on tonight.
No, we'll go as is, because I'll need a little bit more context before I get the advice.
Yeah, you first.
Okay. Initially, we ended the conversation. We were talking about how she could get a husband, and I said,
"Oh Jesus."
I said, you know what? I think that probably at this point, because we're dealing with somebody who's no longer a spring chicken, but, she's not so old that she's, knows Moses. I'm not going to give too many details, but somewhere in the 30-ish range.
Well, that's
So she's like my age.
Yeah.
That's an easy result. That one, you just tell her to go on Plenty of Fish or something like that. Because the bloke, the couple next door met on Plenty of Fish, and he literally looks like the old bushman from fucking out the back of Buggery somewhere with a massive.
Oh, you're talking about a website. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
dating site.
Yeah, and she's this gigantic Aboriginal woman, who's not the prettiest thing on the planet, but she's not fucking stupid ugly. But they met on Plenty of Fish, and they're fucking happy.
Okay.
Did you know? Okay. My roommate uses Plenty of Fish, and I love her dearly. Don't get me wrong. I love my roommate very much. She's very sweet, and she is wonderful. And she's like 31. Yeah, she's 31, and right now she's using Plenty of Fish. So she's got what I've colloquially termed as Mr. Monday, Mr. Tuesday, Mr. Wednesday, Mr.
Oh my.
Thursday. Yes, and I think it's so fucking funny. But it's not a bad site. Like my dad used it after him and my mom got divorced, which is also really funny because he started out with this one is Monday and this one is Tuesday. I'm like, Dad.
Oh my God.
I know, right? But he's been with his lady friend, girlfriend, I don't know, for oh my God, like 6, 7, 8 years now.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, I hate her to death, but that's beside the point.
Well, it could be worse, Gwendy. He could have been showing you the other photos that they've sent him. This one's Monday, legs in the air. This one's Tuesday.
You act like he didn't.
Oh my God. You're assuming he didn't.
Yeah, no, my dad's really very interesting when he's had a couple brandies.
Well, hey, actually, look at this one. This one's Friday. This is a video.
I'm like, Dad, I don't need to see any of these things. You need to stop.
Hey, Gwendy, darling, what the fuck was that squirting out of it then?
What the fuck?
Okay, back on topic. I know it's funny, but back on topic here. That actually was going to be part of my advice, was to be going to a dating site. I didn't know about Plenty of Fish, because she was highly religious. I was thinking of directing her to Christian Mingle because it seemed to be in line with what. But Plenty of Fish. I think that what it actually matters is the advice was going to give her is you need to be open and honest, but you also need to sell what you're giving. Okay, because what you think men want and what men actually want are two different things. One of the first things I'm going is you assume that all men just want sex. And I'm going to tell you right now, while there are a lot of men who stay horny after 25, there's no biological reason that men are horn dogs after age 25. You do not have the same output of hormones after, and especially when you hit about 30, trust me, it's more psychological than it is physical. The people go, well, I've got testosterone. No, it's trust me. There's that part of your life when you hit about 21 where you're like, gotta get laid. But if you eliminate those memories, you eliminate the desire. And trust me, I'm living proof because I have memory loss. I have completely forgotten my childhood. I've forgotten every time I've ever had sex. And I will tell you right now, sex has no appeal to me. None.
I mean, it feels good.
And then, it kind of feels good, but there's no drive for it. And I don't have low testosterone or any other problems. I just don't have that psychological reinforcement involved.
That's not necessarily all men, though. Like,
no, it's not all. No, I know there's a lot of men.
No. That matches because about 15 years, I'm 40 now. About 25 when I was fucking with Susan. But then Susan would turn you off every fucking shit. So
there's, I'm not saying this is everybody, but the men that you want are not that type of guy.
The only good part about fucking Susan is that she'd show you everything that fucking, you can't see in fucking pornos we didn't know existed and all this kind of shit because, an older Sheila's fucking a bit of a benefit, a bit like that. Squirting 10 feet across the fucking room. That was fucking funny.
What are you watching, dude?
Why?
No. That's what Susan could do. And she could do it.
What the hell?
That's a talent.
See, now this comes back to my point here, which is trying to land a husband by being incredibly good at weird sex or any form of sex.
That's not the kind of husband you want.
That's not the kind of husband you want. Okay.
No.
No. The funniest
unless all you care about in this world is sex. But from what you've told us about her, I would say that's not something she wants.
No, not anymore.
No. Stop laughing. Just stop laughing.
Just stop laughing.
I don't trust you.
I understand. Okay, look, if you really want to say this, say it.
Because it was really funny because it lasted several hours and it happened.
I mean, have you never had sex for several hours? Because it's great.
Well, a lot of the time it was fucking. I had it going before I got in her, and then I had like a bullseye on the fucking mirror at the end of the bed. And I was aiming for the mirror because you get it once you got it going. It was only a couple of minutes before you get it going again and again. And
what
again.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, just one question before we go any further. How much have you drunk tonight? How many beers?
Not much. Why?
Okay, just wondering. Just wanted to get a gauge at what point we were at here. Anyway.
Oh no! It was a squirting female orgasm. It's a genre that most women have never achieved and don't know about. And when you tell them about them, it's sort of like, don't like that.
I'm going to recommend that we don't. I'm not going to talk about that with her. I don't think that's a topic for helping this person. Yeah, but thanks for the advice there. I'll consider it. But moving on here.
Here's what they leave out of those fucking Mills and Boone novels. Or
you're awfully focused on this for some reason. Get it out, so we can move on here. Get it out.
Yeah, those love novels where they talk about the big black fellow who lovingly took this young fucking maid and had his way with her and all this kind of shit, and she had and the story basically ends with like she had a quivering fucking result or some fucking shit like that, some stupid wording for she had an orgasm, but the quivering part, yeah, she was squirting. Okay, they always leave that bit out.
Okay, I got that. So, all right. So, do not expect romance novels to be real life. Got it. Excellent advice here. Moving on to what I was talking about for her, though. When she goes, I said you should probably look at going online, and she should probably do an honest profile where she is truthful about herself, including her flaws, because trust me, no guy who's serious about getting into a relationship wants to have to discover your problems. And you might be going, but if I reveal my problems, it'll drive men away. Yes, it'll drive men away that you would have been wasting your time with. All right? And you don't want to waste
100% agree.
You do not want to waste your time. And so by being honest, I'm going to tell you the truth. You're not going to get the catch of the day. But do you really want to get a man who you have to trick into a relationship? And so you are constantly working on the lies in order to maintain it. That's not a good plan.
I'm going to argue that those kind of guys, like the kind of guys that actually do like want to be with you even after knowing that you're a complete and total fuckhead, those are the catch of the day. Those really, in the end up being the catch of the day, because those are the ones that are going to be there for you and going to want to take care of you and are going to stick around. That's the catch of the day to me. And anything else is just profit.
Now, part of this is also, and what I said, while you can talk about yourself a bit, don't go overboard. What you would need to do next is talk about what you offer. And part of what you offer is going to be what men are looking for. And one thing that I'm going to tell you from my personal relationship with my wife, which is every day I come home when she's awake, if she's awake, she says, hello, glad you're home. I love you. Thanks for working so I don't have to. Being told that one last part, thank you for working so I don't have to, means a lot to me.
Feels good, don't it?
It feels good. Like you just came home from a shitty ass day, and then your wife says, thank you for working so I don't have to. And
oh my gosh.
men as a whole, we will put up with a lot of abuse because I believe the nature of a man is to suffer. We do. No, we do. What do? Getting bigger muscles involves suffering. Working at a job involves suffering. Everything we do to achieve something usually involves overcoming and enduring pain. It's the nature of what men do in order to succeed. And
if that's the nature of anybody, it's not just men.
No. Men like to protect, and we don't want the women in our lives or the children in our lives to have to suffer. All right. A lot of men take a great deal of self-satisfaction, self-esteem, and pride from saying, yep, I'm working 80, 90 hours a week, but my wife isn't. That used to be the case to a great degree. Nowadays, you say something like that, I get one of two reactions. I get somebody telling me what a sexist pig I am, or I get somebody asking if I have a brother.
And women also need to remember too that, like, when the bloke comes home, they need an ally, not a combatant, because a lot of women are very combative as well, especially nowadays, especially since they've been allowed to work and then they've got fucking more responsibilities and they want more rights. Okay, they've been given them, so this all now they're a lot more pissed off than what they were 50 years ago because, well, life's a lot harder for them. And you know, if there, like, say for instance a marriage and she's at home fucking doing all the housework.
Well, hold on one sec here before you get going too further. I do want to point out that the scenario we're dealing with here and what she wants is to be a career wife. Her job is to do nothing else other than to be at home and be the wife for him. Okay, so I understand where you're talking about how other women are unhappy. Let's focus on the topic here.
Yeah. I was just about to fucking get there as soon as you interrupted. What she needs to remember that, well, her husband is may be doing an extreme amount of work, including overtime and all this, to provide for her, and that if he comes home and work has given him the shits, she is not to be combative. She is to be understanding, like, you know, your typical fucking soap opera, fucking, you know, Stepford fucking wife kind of deal. You know, husband walks in, those fuckers at work, and she comes and, cradles him from behind kind of deal, and it's like, oh dear, well, here's a beer, tell me about it, you know, kind of deal. She got to be, no matter how pissed off he is, she got to remember, like, he's been out and fucking done this, that, and the other thing. Especially if she wants to sit at home and do nothing pretty much and let him do all the work deal kind of thing.
Well, we'll get to sitting around doing quote unquote nothing later. But any thoughts on so far, Wendy?
I had some, and then Farty kept talking, and I got lost.
Okay. I believe. Well, I don't think that women who are career wives, where your career is being a wife, sit around and do nothing. Okay. Ooh, I believe that. Well, okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I remembered something. Okay. So, how do I explain this? So right now, Drew's not working. He lost his job. Oh my God, that was like almost end of August. He lost his job, end of August. And so he hasn't been working. And like every day when I come home from work or when he comes and picks me up from work, like he's always been like really sweet, and he listens to me talk about my day and stuff like that. Kind of like what you were describing earlier, like how the wife should be, able to listen and just kind of be like, oh, I'm sorry, sweetie, da da da. So he's been kind of like that too. And it's like in a marriage, that's something that's really important, is that, like what Farty said, you shouldn't be combative. Like even if you're both working, like if that was a thing that someone wanted to do, like you shouldn't be like, oh, well, my day was worse because blah, blah, blah. Because that immediately becomes combative, and that doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah.
So I do wholeheartedly agree with that. Like, even if you're both working, it should be like, for me, it was always, oh, I'm sorry that you had such a terrible day. Tell me about it. And I let him talk about it. And they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. My day was like this because of blah, 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 blah. And then he'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. And then we would talk about it and whatever. And it should never be like, because that just sounds like a dick thing to say. Like, who does that? Really?
No, I
Does
agree.
that make any sense?
Yes, it does. I was going to phrase it more along the lines of, look, you need to think of it as a career. And, well, I mean, I know you believe the whole gender wage gap thing when it's actually an earnings gap thing, but think of it this way. Okay, you're making 75 cents on the dollar as the average man. The average woman spends $4 for every dollar a man spends. Why is this? Because most husbands come home, hand the paycheck to the wife, and don't want to deal with it. That's why they have a wife. It's what I do. I make all the money and I hand it to her and say, tell me how much I got left over. Tell me when I need to go out and work more. Tell me what I need to do because I do not want to deal with this. I've got enough shit at work.
Try using the terminology instead of what you said. That it's a partnership.
Well, yeah, it's a partnership in which, but if you also, but for her to put it in a framework she could understand, if he's your boss, he's paying you. He's paying you every 2 weeks with that paycheck, and you're the one who gets to choose how it's getting spent. Now, admittedly, there's a lot of it already spent because you got to pay for rent and clothes and blah, 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 take care of the kids, but you're still the one holding the purse strings in a more traditional fashion, okay? You've got to be able to provide something for your husband so he knows what he's getting out of this relationship. If you're just sitting around, he's not getting anything out of it. But if he comes home and he's living in a 5-star hotel where everything's clean, his kids are taken care of, he gets to just hand over the paperwork of paying for everything to you, and he gets a hot meal out of it. There's a lot of men out there who have been in some pretty bad relationships where they've been divorced or used, or they chased after the hottie and realized, my God, that hot woman was a hot mess. I want somebody who's going to see this as a partnership where I'm doing my half, she's doing her half. We're both specialized in what we do, and that she's grateful for me. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, that is going to be what I think is in the traditional sense. I'm not talking about this is for everybody. I'm not advocating every woman should do this. What I'm saying here is because she seems really interested in the concept, I want to give her a proper, if you're going to do the concept, this is how you do it. And you're right. Being combative, that's another thing there. Understand, though, this is part of it. Men have a different mindset than women. And the main thing for me is that men are monotaskers and women are good at multitasking. Women are great at doing multiple things at a time. Men are not. And you might be saying, oh, I'm a good multitasker. No, you're not. And although do know when you're multitasking, everybody does worse. Women do less worse than men. But men, we focus on one thing at a time, and having emotions, feeling about something, that's a task. That's why men can put aside their feelings and just focus on doing something. But understand there's a price for that, because when a man actually gets around to having his feelings, it's usually the only thing he does. It completely overwhelms him because he's doing nothing but feeling. All right. And something that I have run into in some of my conversations is, she keeps telling me to talk to her. She keeps telling me to open up to her. I did, and I terrified her. Okay. Or I opened up to her, and now she's using these scars from my past against me in arguments.
Oh, that's not okay.
Like when a man opens up to you and truly bears his souls of the pain, because understand, I said this, a man's purpose is to endure suffering so that he can succeed. That's primarily how 95% of men get ahead in this world. We deal with shit and we just suck it up and we do what needs to be done, and then later we heal. Okay? We're very good at straight line movement until we succeed, even if we got to slog through a swamp. But when he finally breaks down and says, I have had too much pain, I need somebody to take care of me, that's when he needs you. And you can't pry that out of him. You can't say, you've got to talk to me. You've got to talk to me. You need to open up. You never share, because when a man shares, it's usually like everything, because it's the only thing he's doing. And it's the problem solving nature switches over to just let it all out. And it can be scary because you're dealing with somebody who's probably ranting and raving and crying. And at the same time, just, it looks like, oh my God, this is not the man that I fell in love with. That isn't the man you fell in love with.
I'm going to interject right now and just tell you that that's extremely unhealthy, and guys shouldn't do that.
Oh, no, I don't.
we do. Is we don't sit there and let stuff bottle up because
you will
blow up.
Oh no, I agree with that 100%. That's part of the discussion, which is because this is the nature, don't force it out of him, but make sure he knows that he can trust you. And then he will let open up to you and let out when he's weak. And you need to be, this is what he needs from you. Okay. And I understand that you also have your own feelings, and there's going to be times where you need him to support you. And unfortunately, men are kind of straight line problem solving. And you go, I bought this phone, and unfortunately I want to transfer over the other phone number to that, but they can't do it until the 10th, and this is the 6th. And so all I've got for the next 4 days is a brick. Well, the other phone still works, right? It's not going to be transferred over until that Wednesday, right? Okay, well, look, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to keep using the old phone. It's not the phone that's the problem. Complaint? Yeah, it's been similar, but I'm paraphrasing. But the problem isn't the phone. It's the emotions associated with trying so hard, finally got this brand new phone, finally worked so hard, saved up all this money, finally getting the dream phone, only to realize you've got to wait another 4 days after you've dealt with hours of trying to fix this problem. It isn't the phone that's the problem. It's the stress and the emotional strain of having to argue with, phone monkeys for 6 hours trying to fix the mess.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman doesn't want you to deal with the phone. And men go, I want to deal with the phone. You want him to comfort you and say, there, poor baby, have a bonbon. Okay. And then actually snuggle you and show that he loves and supports you. Do understand, it's not that he doesn't want to, or that he's insensitive, or that he's a jerk. Well, maybe he is, but usually along the time when you get that sort of he's trying to fix the problem instead of trying to comfort you, you should just flat out tell him, stop trying to fix the goddamn problem, and I need you to deal with my feelings. And when you tell a man that flat out, it isn't that he doesn't love you. It isn't that he doesn't care. It's that he can't read your mind. That's the problem. And when you flat out tell him what you want from him, most men will go, oh, I'm terribly sorry. I did not realize. Here, poor baby, do you need me to drive somewhere and get you the bonbons because we don't have any in the house? Which again falls back to the problem solving aspect of men, where they go, oh, you must be comforted. We have no bonbons. In order to comfort you, I must get bonbons. I will go get bonbons. No.
Does your wife really like bonbons?
No, I'm just making that part. I'm just paraphrasing here from many different examples I've heard. Okay, I'm simplifying here. But if I'm way off, please tell me. Okay, but this because again, this is advice I'm going to give.
This is very far off. Drew does the same thing sometimes. Like the other day, I was just so overwhelmed from work and I was just stressed that I just kind of broke down. And he's like, "We can go get some ice cream." And I'm like, "What the fuck does ice cream have to do with squash?" And it's like, that's how he feels better as he eats ice cream. So he's like, well, then that way you'll feel better. I'm like, that's so cute, though.
No, that just means he likes a lot of rom-coms and fucking girly movies and shit like that.
Oh,
I mean, he also grew up with 2 sisters. Cut him a little slack.
Yeah, rom-coms. Forget all of them.
They're especially new ones.
The new ones are just
no. He likes the old ones.
Yeah, you can tell which is which because, yours are the new ones because of all the ice cream. And what was yours again, Bob?
Oh, I don't know. What is that bridesmaid one where the bridesmaid or whatever it is? Like I watched that and I'm like, holy crap, your sister's a cunt. Why are you in this? And I've been forced to, because of my job, they use the TV to pacify the clients a lot. I've been forced to watch Lifetime Movie Network more times than I
cannot. We've already discussed this. I cannot handle Lifetime Movie Network.
The Lifetime movie, most rom-coms and anything from Lifetime Movie Network are a wonderful negative example of nothing you should ever do. Like if you're looking for the traditional wife as a career, way of looking at things, those are horrible ideas.
What were you talking? What were we talking about before all of that? Before I mentioned rom-coms.
Oh, we were talking about how men deal with their emotions and how women deal with their emotions, and more importantly, how husbands deal with wives' emotions.
More treats with your wife and all that shit. You get your wife something or something like that, and it was dated.
Oh, that you could buy affection, that sort of thing was dated. Yeah, I didn't know. The weird thing is, my
fuck's
wife hates
sake.
flowers because
I love
I bought
flowers.
her them, and she said, "Wow, you bought me something that's going to slowly die and wither away.
No, I
This is a
buy
symbol of
flowers.
our love." And I'm like,
R-
no. What if I got you a potted plant? Now you're buying me something I have to take care of that you're not going to be around to water because you're working all the time.
No,
Okay,
no,
no,
no, no, no, no, no, no, no,
Oh, you gotta
no.
get her some she likes.
Right before Gwendy started talking, that made me talk, made me get on the subject of ice cream. You were talking about some treat that you get your wife or something like that.
Bonbons, right? Bonbons, yeah.
Bonbons, that's it. Yeah, that's something else I was going to say in the same sort of thing, right? Yeah, well, do you watch a lot of fucking Married with Children by any chance?
Oh, I watched all the Married with Children. Here's the weird thing about my memory. I
There
only have to
you
see a show
go.
once and I remember it.
There
Can't
you
remember
go.
people's names, but TV shows, yeah, no problem.
There you go. He treats his wife like Peg Bundy. And
Well, no, but that's part of the issue here is that, like, if you're going to be a career wife, you need to offer something. And I'll be perfectly honest here. I mean, you should also say what you like so that you guys can have something in common you have fun with. You know, because if you don't have anything in common, trust me, it gets awfully boring. All right.
Right.
You need to have similar enjoyments. Okay. Whatever they are, there needs to be something you can share so you can both go out and have fun with it. And it should be something that is not, I'd like to go out and party. Okay.
Yeah, no,
because,
please.
Yeah, because once you get married, going out and partying leads to you meeting other people, which leads to temptation, which leads to problems. Now, while I'm not saying everybody's going to break up under those,
true.
I'm not saying that's inherently true, but if there are any flaws in the relationship, that will put additional strain on it. Okay.
Wrong either, but what I was gonna say is you can be married and still go out and party and stuff if you want, but if you've got kids and stuff or whatever, you have responsibilities, then nah. And if she's got kids, I don't know. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there's kids, you know, that's another story. But I'm talking about what you're stating in the ad for Plenty of Fish or Christian Mingle or whatever. I'm saying you need to sell. What is the benefit of going out with me? Here are the problems with me. You start with the problems. Then you move on to what are the benefits? I want to be a career wife. I'm going to be honest here. I've always wanted to kind of do this, but I've been kind of tricked into being told that I've got to do all this other stuff to be successful. This is what I want to do. You will be working with me to help me learn. But these are truths that I have learned. And I'm going to say, I'll even help her write these up. But I'm going to say, don't put it on saying I'm going to catch a man. You're not trying to catch a man. You're trying to be honest about yourself and seeing who's interested in you. Because trust me, if you bill yourself as, I want you to live in a 5-star hotel, I want to take care of your family and children, you work, you come home, you hand me the money, and then you get to relax and I take care of the issues here at the home, there's a lot of men who'll go, damn, if you're for real, I'll take that no matter what you look like. Because
I mean, I wouldn't word it that way, but
I'm simplifying. I mean, you need to have more details. Something else which I think she should also put up is, I want to marry somebody who loves me, not the one I love, but I hope that you do the same, which is to say, I'm going to be focusing on somebody who cares about me, not on who I care about. Because when you marry who you care about, that doesn't necessarily mean they care about you. But if you marry somebody who does care about you and they're being selfish too, and they're looking for somebody who loves them, they might pick you as well. That is a match that works, where you're both looking to the other person to be the one who cares about you, not the other way around. Because when you have it the other way around, where I'm just going after the person who makes me happy, the other person, well, they might not care about you, and then you wind up getting used and all sorts of bullshit happening.
Maybe she should also look around and find the one person that has stuck around, that hasn't done her wrong, that's always been around, the shoulder that she's cried on, the fucking...
Oh, that's actually something I didn't think of. Yeah, that you should examine the friend zone guy, because the friend zone guy might want to be with you full time and be your husband and provider.
Okay, I've done that, and I don't necessarily recommend it.
Oh, really? You recommend against the friend zone dating?
I don't necessarily recommend going in the friend zone dating because, I mean, it can end very badly.
It
and I'm
can.
saying this from experience. It can end very badly, but I mean, it's more of like if you, how do I put it? I don't really know how to word it other than just watch the red flags when you do that. Like, because if you're gonna look in your friend zone, you gotta watch those red flags, and if you don't, you're gonna get fucked.
Because there might be a reason why the person is in the friend zone.
Right. There's usually a reason that they got friend zoned.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you see, I'm more talking about the one that has been around, the really, really, really loyal one, the one from childhood or something like that. That you're like, yeah, but he's like a brother or some fucking shit like that.
Well, I mean,
When
admittedly, if she's changing her attitude entirely, which this is what we're discussing for her, is an
if
incredible shift in her outlook in life, then maybe
if
she should reevaluate that.
yeah, if he's hung around this long and put up with your shit for this fucking long, and he doesn't have the handcuffs of fucking matrimony, he can fuck it. You could have fucked off at any point in time. You may as well just marry the bloke.
Well, I would say reevaluate your relationship with that person, not just marry him, but reevaluate. See whether or not, because you've changed, if your priorities have changed, maybe his qualifications have changed. That would make sense to me. But on the other hand, I do agree with Gwendy that probably there was a reason he was friend zoned. Okay, because sometimes there's guys you like, but you don't like them enough to actually be around them for a long period of time, because there would be a point where they get really annoying, so I can understand that.
I'd say most of the time it's got a lot more to do with money.
No, that's true.
The guys
No,
in the
dude.
the guys in the friend zones and a truck driver and not a fucking Wall Street banker or something like that.
No, dude. That's really not it. Trust me.
Ah, I got you. Oh, well, actually, that does bring up an important point. Money. I would recommend, however, personally, that while financial stability is obviously important because he needs to be able to take care of you, I think it's more important that there is more potential where he has a future, as opposed to at the moment seems financially stable. Because I've met some people where it's like, wow, you're kind of on hard luck, but it was hard luck because in the past they were doing pretty well, and eventually they get their act together and they're doing very well currently. They eventually turn things around. If you sit there and you say, oh, if he doesn't have flashy bling, if he isn't wearing a 12-piece suit with diamond cufflinks, then I don't want to touch him, because I'm going to have to be blunt with her. The chances of you landing that guy are no longer around. You are no longer the 9 on the scale of 1 to 10. You're probably closer to a 6. And that 9 and 10 guy, sorry. If you're holding out for him, you're not going to get it. And you're just going to be frustrated trying to chase after the dollar. And trust me, just because somebody's rich, it will not make you happy. I know that's cliche.
To be fair, most guys that are looking for like a stay-at-home wife are going to have more money.
They are. They will have more money, but they're not going to be loaded. They're going to be
probably not
reasonably well off. They're going to be working stiffs. They're going to be guys with their act together.
Yeah.
And what you'll also know, with stay-at-home wives and shit like that, because of modern technology and all that kind of stuff, like before when they used to hand wash clothes and dishes and fucking all that kind of shit.
I still hand wash dishes.
Yeah. Nowadays, most housewives, who've got like washing machines and dishwashers and dryers and all that. It's clunk, 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 clunk. Fucking push a bunch of buttons and off they go. They can sit down in front of the TV for 3/4 of an hour, watch a TV show, and then fucking go off, stick the clothes in the dryer, open up the fucking the dishwasher for a minute. There you go. There's 2 of your tasks done for the day. Depending on how many fucking loads of laundry you need to do, well, chuck another one in while that one's drying, and then fucking go watch another TV show for 45 minutes. Fucking open up the dryers, the washing machine, so it doesn't fucking get moldy and shit.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of other stuff you do when you're a stay-at-home wife, though.
There's also dusting, which has to be done every day. There's, if you've got any pets, there's cleaning litter boxes and stuff like that. There's keeping track of appointments. My wife nonstop is on the phone at least 3 or 4 hours a day because she's basically my secretary. This is not even though she can't walk and she walks around with a cane, she had a tumor removed from her spine. And I do a lot of the shopping now, and I do a lot of more work around the house. The time that she was in the hospital for 2 weeks, everything fell apart. I mean,
but people don't vacuum every day and all this kind of stuff.
You do when you have pets.
You do when you have pets. And if you want to provide that 5-star hotel look that you're promising your future husband, you are vacuuming every day.
And you sweep and you mop
and you go through and then when he comes in and he leaves his socks on the floor, you pick them up, put them away. And because then when he comes back and it's a little bit, it's just a little bit here or there, but trust me, it builds up when you ignore it, because in the 2 weeks that she was in the hospital, the house was a hellhole.
I bet it was.
It was a hellhole. And it wasn't even like I was deliberately missing it up. It was just, I was in such a rush to get stuff done, get some sleep, get to the hospital, still try and work, that I was leaving stuff where it was. And very quickly, there was debris all over the place.
Yeah, being a stay-at-home wife or mom, like, I essentially have been in that relationship without actually being married. Like, I took care of the kids, I took care of the house, I did everything at home while he worked. And like, there really isn't a whole lot of time to just kind of sit and do nothing. Like, I might have like an hour, maybe 2.
Not if you're holding up your end of the bargain. Yes. I mean, you can't sit around and do nothing.
No, I kept that house fucking spotless. The kids were, had gotten bathed. They did everything that they needed to. I took them to school. I did everything else. I made lunches. I made dinner. I made breakfast. I did everything.
Now, this brings us to the financial part of this that I wanted to bring up. When you are both working, you have to pay for child support. So if you have any kids, the minute you got that first child, you are losing money because you are giving up taking care of your kids so that somebody else can, at minimum wage, raise your kids for you. And you're probably not paying minimum wage. They're getting paid minimum wage. You're probably paying on average up to $30,000 a year.
Oh, it's expensive.
It is very expensive for child support. Now then, if you're staying at home, you're saving on the child, you're saving on the child care. Meanwhile, since he's not stressed having to carry half the load and take care of half the housework and all the other crap, he can come home and be relaxed and rested. He can devote all of his time at his job to try and get as rich as possible. Statistically speaking, when you have a woman, when you factor in childcare, a woman staying at home, one person working and one person staying at home, you make more money than you do if you're both working. All right. This is proven. I mean, of course, it's a bell curve.
Yes, you are correct.
Statistically, this is the way it is. I'm not saying in everybody's case it's going to be that case, because some people have extended families and they don't have to pay for childcare. They can hand it off to grandma, blah, blah, blah. But for the classic nuclear American family where nobody else is coming to help you and you're on your own, this is how it works. So.
Oh, yeah, no, I had to do that with my son when it was just me. And fucking daycare was like $800 a fucking month. Almost like a little over $200 a week is what it ended up being. I think like $209. And that was even with county assistance. I'm like, what the fuck? And that's because I was working. I'm like, this is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. But it was so expensive.
Well,
like, that's how our 1-bedroom apartment. I was essentially paying rent for 2 places.
Indeed. And
I couldn't afford that. Nobody can afford that.
But here's the crazy thing, though. What we're talking about right now, I'm glad we only have 2 viewers because we actually got the attention of any diehard SJWs. They would be by here and flagging the shit out of this channel because everything we are saying is pure heresy about, oh my God, you want women to be shackled at home. And it's like, no.
But no, that's like, hi, you've met me.
No, I've met you, but I've met these people. I've actually had this conversation. As I've said, I get one of 2 reactions. Either do you have a brother or you are pure scum.
That's the stupidest thing, though, because what you're not saying that all women should. What you're saying is, like, if that's something you wanted to do, then this is this and this. It's, you're not demanding that women stay home. You're saying if you wanted to stay home, then these things.
Well, I believe it's part of the belief of these progressives that it's like women should be like men and men should be like women. And so if you're encouraging a woman to be like a traditional woman, you must be evil. When I'm not, when I'm sitting here and saying there's a financial benefit to this. Plus, you keep saying you want to spend more time with your children. It would be a lot easier for you to get custody of your child back if you had a stable man in your life. Okay. And that's
not inherently wrong.
I mean, I'm not saying that it's the end all be all. I'm not saying you can't, bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan. But if you wanted to go this route, which is what she said, then embrace it. But you got to understand there is a price on your side. This isn't Prince Charming coming along to save you. This is Prince Charming coming along. And by the way, you should, of course, love him. And he should love you.
I mean, I would sure fucking hope so.
Okay,
but
hey.
Don't laugh at that. No, love is important. Shut up.
Yeah, love is important.
Hang on.
No, go ahead.
So she's had her kids taken away from her. Has she got them back?
Not yet, not currently. No, this is part of the whole disaster that she's going through.
And he's got
how
two
many kids does she have?
No, there is no key yet. We're talking about how if she was going to say, because I said to her, you're always complaining that you want to be with your kids. You never talk about how much you love your job. You never talk about your dreams with your job. Whenever you're talking about what you want out of your life, you never talk about your career. You never talk about anything you've done in the past with your career that you enjoyed. You never talk about anything about your job other than it is a burden upon you. The one thing you talk about with glowing praise is that you so much want your children back in your life, and you want that. So do that. Be a career wife. You're going to have to pay. You're going to have to work with somebody else to do that. But trust me, if you're upfront personal, there are a lot of men out there who are like, wow, this woman wants to, provide a good home and take care of any kids. And okay, she's got kids that are coming with her. I'm going to have to deal with that. But I'm not such a big catch either. I've got my problems. If you're a 6, you're not going to find a 10. If you're a 6, you're going to find a 6. There's a 6 out there who's going to look at you and say, you're a 6, I'm a 6.
I mean, okay, so when you're using these numbers, you're talking about looks?
Well, I'm talking about overall rating of people because looks is part of it.
I mean,
but I don't think it's the end all be all.
No, I thought you said that there was a dude there that had 2 kids or some shit.
No. There's no dude yet. She is discussing with me how to find the husband because once I framed it in the way
you got to find somebody love first. Shit.
Yeah, no. That if you're a wife, you can think of wife as a career. It was like a switch went off into her head because up until this point, she had thought being married was nothing but being a slave. And then I says, well, I don't want to be slave. You're not. No, you've got one boss. I've got 16.
What?
I've got 16 boss.
Why would being married make you a slave? That makes no fucking sense.
It's just how she was thinking. I mean, it literally was her mindset. Yeah, I don't know where she picked it up, but her mindset was if you're married, you're a slave. For her, there is no partnership with men. And you wonder why she has 2 kids by 2 different husbands. Well, not his husband, just 2 different men.
No. You should give it the mindset that having a kid is a slave. To someone is a slave. You should got to hang around for that kid and look after it properly and give it a mother and a father. So you're a slave to the relationship now. All that kind of shit.
Now, this does raise up here. If you're a man, as you're pointing out here, you are a slave to the relationship. You've got dependents that you've got to take care of. But honestly, most men, when you get into that marriage relationship, if there wasn't problems, overall, they're usually good with it. They're like, I kind of want to have a family to take care of. I want somebody who I can say, yep, things are going badly right now, but she's still taken care of. Yeah, I got to work my ass off, but she doesn't have to because I'm taking care of my family. And that's a matter of pride for me. And I know that's a matter of pride for a lot of men out there who are in relationships like that, which unfortunately, when some of the stories I hear about divorces, it's usually along the lines of things were going pretty well until like this one point where she suddenly started seeing me as the enemy. And then it was all confrontational and it seemed to fall apart. Now, I don't have her side of the story in those sort of situations, but it really does seem like she developed, like she started off, I like being a housewife. to turning into, I don't have a career or a family or anything to show off. Yeah, you do. You have kids. I'm sorry. That's something to be proud of. You know, you've got a great house that you live in. You get a paycheck every 2 weeks from your husband when he hands it to you. You know, you are in control of the household. That is not something to sniff at and just go, oh, I'm just this. No, that's an accomplishment. That's something to be proud of. But usually it seems like when the divorce discussions I've had, the woman at some point stopped having any pride in her family. I'm not sure why. I'm not going to even speculate. But that seems to be, she stopped having self-esteem, pride in having a family. And that's why the divorce happens. There's also, like, I don't know what her side is, why she decided it. I'm talking about from the man's side of this. So take that with a grain of salt.
I mean,
yeah, fucking, there's 2 parts there where I saw it in Susan, where fucking, like, the fights and the arguments started happening at the end, and mainly it was about me cheating on her when I was actually working, and the first part is also like the working and providing for one's family. Well, fucking, she's actually not my family. I haven't married her, and they're not my bloody kids, so I can jump out at any time. So that I had that luxury. But the other bit, fucking, what was the other bit I was just talking about?
Not sure. I'm a little lost. But I mean, I get your point. I'm just not sure where you were going with it. But I understand how you're talking about where you weren't actually in the committed relationship yet, so you did have the right to leave. And, well, it sounds like that she stopped holding up her end of the relationship.
Yeah. And it turns out that every time she was accusing me of cheating on her, she was cheating on me. So, yeah,
I mean, that's typical of people that cheat, though.
Yeah.
I got a bit of a stepping stone and all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's funny hearing that story and going, yeah, I recognize that, and yeah, but without the cheating, and you know, fucking, like, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's actually, I want to. Is there anything you want to comment, Wendy, before I move on to cheating? Actually,
God damn it, that was another one. I had something and I lost it. I'm sorry. I may or may not be stoned.
It's okay. If it comes back to you, let me know. This is pretty much the last topic here because relationships do have strain. Okay. And if you have kids, that's more strain. Okay. Kids do not bring people together. They tear people apart. You've got to have a pretty strong relationship if you're going to have children, but mistakes happen. People get stressed. People forget about other people. I think that is most important to have communication to say, hey, I need your emotional support, either from the woman or from the man. And the other person, when they hear that, whatever reason, like if you're in the middle of an argument and he says, I need you to worry about my feelings right now. I need you to be a husband to me, or I need you to be a wife to me. Even if you want to kill the other person, it's very important for you to be able to stop and say, okay, we will come back to this argument. But right now, if you need me to take care of you, I will. That's always been something with me and my wife. No matter how angry we get, if one of us reaches that point and says, I need you to put this aside and worry about me, even though I've been like, I want to kill you, fine. Let us deal with you. And it's usually been really bad timing where, like, I have already been through the ringer and already dealt with a metric ton of bullshit in my life. But I understand that when that call goes out, and conversely, you should be able to do it the other way. And I'm going to say my wife's got better in recent years, but there were times where I said, I need you to worry about me. And she said, so what? Okay. So we've had some problems in the past, but all relationships have bumps. Don't expect it to be perfect. But that all said, we come down to the whole cheating thing. And in my opinion, there's nothing worse than it. Okay. My dad cheated on my mother for quite a while. When my mother finally found out, she confronted him and he said, he gave all sorts of bullshit reasons. And you know what? My mother bent over backwards to meet all of his demands. And then he still cheated on her and left. All right. If you're not in love anymore, you tell them. If you feel this need to cheat with somebody else, fine. Say the other person, love to have sex with you, but I need to go and tell my partner I'm going to have sex with you and we need to have a discussion first. And chances are that means you're going to break up. Okay. But it's probably better for you to break up under those conditions than for you to cheat and then spend the rest of your life being guilty, like, Farty's Sheila there, who is like constantly accusing him of cheating,
Sheila.
not because she thought he was cheating, but because she was hoping he was cheating so that she could
She
even
wouldn't feel
things
bad.
out. When you cheat, even if the other person's never going to find out, even if nobody's ever going to know, even if the other person you're working with is freaking Jesus and will disappear right after you have sex, so you're going to have like the second coming of God,
But
you will hate yourself. Or if you don't, there's something wrong with you, and whoever you're with does not need to be with you because you're broken. All right. You got just if you've reached that point, you stop whatever you're doing, you suck it up and you go and talk to the other person and you tell them, I was about to cheat on you and we need to talk.
Well,
and I'll tell you this, there's a lot of guys out there.
Well, it got to a point that fucking every female that I knew I couldn't talk to because then I get hounded about fucking cheating on her with her.
Thanks for bringing that up. That is something I wanted to talk about.
All that kind of shit and fucking.
Talk about this after the cheating thing, Bob.
Let me finish up the cheating thing here real quick.
Yeah.
Old friends and all this kind of stuff couldn't talk to anymore. Fucking because I was cheating on them. So
did you want to say anything real quick, Wendy, before I jump onto this? What he just brought up.
I mean, like anything that I would say is going to kind of tie into it. Like I've been accused of cheating when I fucking wasn't. I know damn good well I wasn't because I know where my vagina's been. But I've been accused of cheating, and I have no idea. I have no way to prove whether or not he was actually cheating and was just accusing me to make himself feel better. I have no proof of that. But I can tell you that it's like, oh my God, it's like one of the most hurtful things that you can do to somebody, though. Especially using it like that, is being manipulative like that. Like that just hurts.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, and trust me on this, you might think it might suck, it might end the relationship. You're just not in love with him and you want him to be with somebody else. You go, you talk to him, you work it out, or you break up. And the reason why is your reputation follows you. If you think that you cheat and then you get away with it, the moment that happens, trust me, word will get around. This is the age of the internet. You can't just cheat on your husband and get away with it. And that means when you try to find that next guy, it's not going to work out. Don't destroy your long-term prospects for short-term gain. Okay. And I know it sucks, but you go and talk to him. And there are guys out there who will talk with you. I don't know if he was willing to be in an open relationship, it's probably not going to work out. I'm just saying, but he might be along the lines of, let's talk. Do we want to work this out? What is the problems? He will problem solve with you. But if you haven't told him there's a problem and that you're thinking of cheating on him, and this goes for the guys too. This isn't just for the girls. This is for the guys. If you're not willing to go and talk it out and work it out, trust me, it's a bad idea. But then that does bring me up to what Freddie just brought up here, which is don't isolate your partner. Okay. You've got to be able to trust them with other human beings and to maintain their relationships with their family and their friends. I understand what's going on with him was she wanted to control him. And in order to control him, she had to make sure there was no competition. And so anybody he talked to, especially other women, had to be eliminated. Could not trust anybody else. If you cannot, this is a simple case of her trying to get rid of anybody who might be able to sit down with you and say, hey, Ferdy, that girl you're with, she's a total fucking cunt and she's insane. Why are you with her? Leave her now. Get out now. You know, the call's coming in from inside the house.
Run. Forrest, run.
Yeah, run for your life. But when you're dealing with truly crazy people, they know they're crazy and they will seek to eliminate your connection to anybody else who could be a lifeline and save you. And they will deliberately manipulate you into positions where you are attacking your friends and family over her. Now, understand that in some cases, I can understand in some limited cases, you might want to pick your wife over your, I don't know, incredibly racist uncle. All right, where you're dating somebody from a different race and your uncle's like, oh, no, we're not going to have any of them in our family tree. I get that. All right. Sometimes you do need to break off with people because they don't share the same values as you. But when she is telling you to break off with somebody else. When it's me or you, it's either me or them. Pick them. Pick them. Okay.
You know when like they have that like thing in movies where they say, how many boyfriends have you had? I've had such and such, and then that question they have, and there's the theory that when she answers, it's actually two more. And if he answers, it's actually two less. So, say for instance, I said, "Oh, I've had 5 girlfriends," and he actually had 3. Same thing with the girlfriends. Is like, "Oh, I've only had 5." In actual fact, she's had 7.
I'm always honest about that. There's no reason to hide that. That's the dumbest. What's the point in hiding that? Like,
well, we're talking about an
always be
average
honest.
here. We're talking about an average. I'm sure there's women out there who say 5 and they mean 15, and there's women out there who say, 5 and they mean 5. We're talking about an average here. Men tend to inflate. Women probably tend to, shoot under slightly. Where that wasn't really sex. It was just a hand job. That doesn't count.
Oh, I don't count that as how many people I've had sex with. But I can say that I've done that to several people, but didn't fuck them.
You, two cunts can ruin a bloody joke.
Oh, I ruined a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Sorry. Sorry, Vardy. Well, actually, this is pretty much all the topics that I wanted to deal with for advice that I was going to give her. Do you think there's anything I missed here?
The joke.
I missed the joke. Do you want to try the joke again?
Oh, fuck.
Can you even remember it?
You want me to do the whole fucking thing? Or how much do you guys remember?
None of it. None of it. I don't remember any of it.
Oh, shit. Hang on.
I mean, in all seriousness, though, like as far as friends and stuff, like I've always made it a point to encourage any guy that I've been with to, go hang out with your friends, go hang out with your family. Like, I love spending time with you, but you should spend time with other people too, and that's okay, and that kind of thing. Like, I do that with Drew all the time. I tell him to go hang out with his friends because I work, and like tomorrow we're both gonna go hang out with his family because I like him getting to spend time with them, and then I get to hang out with them, and his sister's pretty cool, so it works out. And that should be important.
We know this, Gwendy, because you haven't been here.
I'm sorry. I've been busy with work.
Oh, well, I was going to do some closing thoughts unless you wanted to try the joke, Farty, or shall we move on?
I can't even remember what the fucking joke was about. What was it? Because that's that
I don't even know, honey.
It reminded me of something about the fucking thing. Because that's going to fucking piss me off all night. Yeah, not remembering that.
I'm so sorry. I don't remember.
Oh, I can go back and listen to it. That'll shit me. I can't fucking redo it on air.
This was the final point because it was related to cheating. Men are usually the ones who hit on women. Okay? Usually. But when a man gets older and he gets more richer and successful, something really weird happens, which has happened to me with frighteningly increasing regularity lately, which is actually causing me to cut off a lot of relationships, which is I get hit on. And I don't know why. And I really have never been hit on. And so it's really freaky. I don't deal well with it. It really freaks me out. Cute. And I know that sounds really cute, but I'm telling you from the point of view, I'm incredibly loyal to my wife. And I've even told her, was like, I think I got hit on. And we've talked about it because she knows, she trusts me 100% that I would never, ever cheat on her. She knows it. She trusts me 100%, but that's because I come to her and say, this weird thing happened. Was I getting hit on? But the fact of the matter is that most men, when they get older, they don't want to chase. Chasing is tiring, but suddenly, because you're rich, you're successful, maybe you aged well, maybe all the work is making you lose weight because you're not eating or whatever, and you actually look halfway decent. And to somebody who's, 36, they screwed up their lives and they've got very little, you suddenly look very, very attractive because you're probably the best prospect she has. And she doesn't care if you're married because, well, if I can get you away from her, I'll take, getting him to break his word just so I can get somebody. And
that's just called desperate.
Desperate. Yeah, but men do not know how to deal with it. We do not know how to deal with being flirted with. We often don't even know we're being flirted with because it's never happened. For 80% of the men out there, they've never had anyone hit on them. 20%, yes. And we all know our chads, but for that 80% who are just working stiffs, going through their job, this is why it is important to daily say, thank you for working for me so I don't have to, so that he knows he is appreciated. It doesn't take much. Men like to take care of their families, but if they think they're unappreciated, that they're suffering, that you're doing nothing but bitching at them, and that when he comes home, all you're doing is sitting around, the house looks like a shithole, and you're like sitting there and saying, wow, I got in a really bad situation. Maybe you're having a bad day. Maybe you've got a spinal tumor. Maybe things are just going bad, okay? Maybe you haven't talked in a while, whatever. You're stressed about the kids. From his point of view, it isn't the sex neglect, it's an emotional neglect. And then when another woman comes along and hits on him, it's like, wow, somebody's likes me. And it's really women, you're used to that. You're used to men. You've got a friend zone. Men don't have a friend zone for women. There's no women's friend zone because there isn't enough women out there who want to be with a man to be friend zoned. Or rather, if you're top 10, 20% of men.
I mean, have you not seen r/Nice Girls?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh,
I'm sure there are men out there who do, especially these days, since increasingly more and more men are getting scared of relationships. I mean, so that means the available pool is shrinking, and that means that there's more women looking for men than men looking for women. Well, than before. Okay, I think that we've got the ratio swinging the wrong way. And so, but I think just as a point, realize this about the man in your life and make a point to talk to him about it and saying, hey, when you were in college, were the women all over you? If the answer's no, then you need to make sure that he knows you're a great catch. If somebody else comes along and tries to catch you, let me know. I won't be angry. I just want to scratch your eyes out. So,
I mean, I do that with Drew a lot, but that's mostly a self-esteem issue thing. Like, because for him with his ex-wife, she kind of treated him like total garbage. And so I constantly try to remind him that, oh, I like this thing about you, or, you do this really well, or whatever the fucking thing. Because, I mean, that's important for any kind of relationship, even just friendships. Just reminding them that this is what I like about you. Yeah, it's important.
And Drew probably put up with it because as men, we're kind of trained at birth. And from that point on to put up with shit. Men endure. It's what we do. So if it's a slow boil where the relationship is slowly going south, where she's just increasingly being a bitch, we put up with it because we believe it's what we do. It's how we solve most of our problems. We just wait them out or just keep doing whatever we can until we win. When you have that sort of attitude,
more because of the kids.
Well, that might be the case as well, but I'm generalizing here. Hashtag not all. Hashtag pound me too, whatever.
God, stop.
Sorry. I just like your reaction whenever I say that. Anyway, we've reached midnight, and I think I've covered everything at this point. So if there's anything you two want to bring up as closing thoughts, that really was my closing thought there, which is you need to understand that the person you're dealing with does not, if you're a career wife, your man does not think like you. Okay? Does not. He thinks a lot simpler than you. You might think there's a great deal of complexity there. There isn't. And because there's not a lot of complexity and they're pretty simple, it means that you might overthink what they're doing when it's usually best to just come right out, get in their face and state the blunt truth. We love that. We love women who are blunt. It works very well for us because it's easy to understand. So
on the first one, my thoughts are exactly the same as when I first heard about it. And once again, I'm now constipated. Thanks very much.
Any closing thoughts from you, Wendy?
I mean, as far as the Kavanaugh thing, I still don't like him. I don't think he should be, but I mean,
my issue with it is that probably I would have been unhappy with him, but because of this circus, I have to support him, which puts me in a weird situation where I'm going, It doesn't, you know what the weird thing is about all of this? I don't think it matters if he's guilty or not, because the Democrats threw in everything they could to defeat him, and they could not afford to lose. And the Republicans backed him and could not afford not to win. And so it no longer matters if he's guilty or innocent, because this is strictly 100% political. That's what it is. It is pure partisanship at this point. And that's what's sad about it, is it never should have been this. It should have been honestly about what kind of justice is this guy? The guy literally at this point could be like, yeah, what's this hammer for? Is it for breaking nuts? I mean, he could be breaking walnuts on his desk and it wouldn't freaking matter at that point. I mean, it's all about the politics. So, and that's what's sad about this, you know, because it just doesn't matter what the truth is. The only thing that matters is which side of the fence you're on. And that's going to hurt us all. We are going to see the results, the side effects to this bullshit for years to come. Years. This is, you think this is just a slight problem? Oh, this is a one-time thing? Oh, no. Because I promise you, there are radicals on both sides. And the minute they saw this get this far, they're like, you know what? Maybe I can do that too. I mean, let's face facts here. Who's that asshole's the second in command? The DNC. There's a lot more evidence against that guy that he's like, you know, abusing his girlfriend than there was for what happened to Kavanaugh. Why aren't the Democrats jumping on him? Well, because he's incredibly useful, powerful, and connected. It's hypocrisy. And when this hypocrisy becomes obvious, everybody gets disillusioned and nobody wins. Nobody is winning in this. We're all losing. But I think that's my final thoughts on the Kavanaugh. We have our final thoughts on what makes a good wife. Any last words before we head out? Nope.
I guess like the only other thing I have to say would be like, there's nothing wrong with being a housewife. There really isn't. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. If that's what you want to do and you're totally fine with it and you're in a relationship where that works, there is nothing wrong with it. And any woman that says otherwise is, honest to God, a fucking retard.
Gotcha. Well, it's been real and it's been fun. Oh, wait, go on. Hold on.
I guess as long as she gets into it, not for just a paycheck or something like that.
Yeah, that is important.
But to actually look after the bloke, you know, if she starts to get the shits with making the dinner at night, then well, stiff fucking shit.
Yeah, if you honestly are hating the relationship, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't try. I mean, sit down, talk about it, see if you can work it out. But don't hope. Don't just sit there and hope it works out. Don't stick your head in the sand.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste your time on a relationship that's just going to end. Sit down, talk about it, work it out.
And don't get an Insta family or anything like that. Get someone who you're looking at trying to make your own.
Yeah. Well, in her case, unfortunately, that it is going to be an instant family for the guy. But that's why I think I'm going to say, look, there are guys out there who are going to want that, who might be with that. So don't discount it. I'm just saying, you're not going to find Prince Charming. You're going to find kind of, what would you call him? A Squire Charming. You know?
I mean, no, you like even with like dating and stuff, like as a single mom, I've done that. And I mean, there are guys out there that are totally fine with, you know, you have a kid. That's great. That's cool. And be okay with being in a relationship like that. Like there are guys out there.
No. She looks for a dude that hasn't got a kid.
I mean, she can.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she should look for a dude that doesn't have a kid.
Yeah, actually, that is a good advice there because, frankly, the two guys I think she's been with so far also have kids by other mothers, and I think overall that's a good indicator of the type of person she shouldn't be looking for.
Even if they were like divorced, though, like that's different.
Like divorced is different. Divorced would be different because, right. But I'm talking about somebody who was never married and has other kids. That's a good point.
Well, the rationale is starting anew and all this kind of stuff. She could look at it that way, and that on top of that, it's not so much an anchor, but it's a reason to hang around. Yes, she could say that. No. This time I'm going to try and make it work for him at least until he's 18, 21 or whatever, or he moves out. And then you can go do what the hell you want or whatever. But
Gotcha.
you know, and don't threaten the, or else I'll have you for fucking child support up your ass and all this kind of stuff. And don't threaten any of that. Just try to see if she can try and push for the child's welfare. You know, dads need to stick around. Blah 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 blah. Give him an education, get him a good kickstart in life, and then we can fucking part ways. Not a problem.
Yeah,
Put it to her like that, and then she can have sort of like, give her a bit of a responsibility, to the not just the child, but to keeping the child's welfare in a relationship and all that kind of shit.
gotcha. Any other final words before we wrap up?
Boobies.
All right. It's been real. It's been fun. I think it's been kind of real fun. I think this is a good, serious talk for once, which is something we haven't had in a while. Catch you all later. And again, boobies.